The young talent from Masia Ansu Fati, who took over Barcelona's iconic number 10 jersey a few years ago, has lost his popularity in Catalonia and is currently on loan at Brighton. In today's video, we'll explore his journey in football and the challenges he faced that hindered his development. And of course, why he's on his way back to the top of European football. Ansu Fati was once expected to become the next big sensation in football. As a product of La Masia, he had a similar playing style to Lionel Messi, cutting in from the wing, taking on defenders, and shooting with incredible accuracy. For an incredible 12 months, it seemed like Ansu was ready to step into Messi's shoes. He made his debut in September 2019 and dominated La Liga for nearly a year. He shattered numerous records, scored at a rate even better than Messi did in his early career, and, most importantly, played thrilling football. It appeared that he was the future of Barcelona, the player they could depend on for many years to come. However, things took a turn for the worse. Fati faced a string of injuries, starting with a knee problem, and struggled to fully recover. He encountered several muscle issues as a result. 4 years after his debut, Fati is now playing for a different team, having joined Brighton on loan for the 2023-24 season. But let's take a step back for a moment. Fati had played a crucial role in Barcelona's youth teams during the 2018-19 season. The original plan was for the teenager to spend the next season with Barcelona B in the Spanish third tier before eventually being promoted to the first team in the following campaign. However, when it became evident that Barcelona needed reinforcement in their forward line and that Fati had a long-term future at the club, he signed his first professional contract, and his rapid rise to stardom began. With both Luis Suarez and Messi sidelined, the Blaugrana turned to the 16-year-old for valuable minutes coming off the bench. In a match against Real Betis at Camp Nou, Fati made his debut in the 78th minute and delivered an impressive performance as Barcelona secured victory. At just 16 years and 298 days old, he became the second youngest debutant in the club's history. A week later, in a game against Osasuna, Fati scored his first goal. Although his elegant finish wasn't enough for Barcelona to win, as they settled for a 2-2 draw, it did make him the youngest goal scorer in the club's history. Over the following weeks, Fati consistently demonstrated his worth, earning a place in the starting lineup against Valencia and replacing the still recovering Suarez as part of Barcelona's front three. It turned out to be a dream performance for the then 16-year-old. Within 7 minutes, he had both scored and provided an assist. His assist, in particular, was a thing of beauty, as the young winger skillfully bypassed two defenders on the left before setting up Frankie de Jong. He then set a Champions League record as well. Barcelona had taken an early lead against Inter in the Champions League in December 2019. However, Romelu Lukaku equalized just before halftime, putting pressure on Barcelona to secure a crucial away victory at San Siro. This is where Ansu Fati stepped in. The young talent came off the bench and scored the winning goal, sending a low shot into the bottom corner from the edge of the box. This goal was truly memorable and made him the youngest goal scorer in the history of the Champions League, a record that he still holds today. Fast forward 9 months, the winger continued to progress in his emerging career. He had been on the fringes of the Spain national team for some time, and in August 2020, he received his first call-up to join La Roja for their upcoming Nations League matches. He played 45 minutes against Germany in a 1-1 draw, becoming the second youngest player to ever represent the Spanish national team, surpassing former Barcelona wonderkid Bojan Krkic. Just 3 days later, Fati took another significant step when Luis Enrique, the Spain manager, gave the 17-year-old his first international start against Ukraine. The teenager quickly justified his manager's trust by scoring one of the finest goals of his career at that point. He cut onto his stronger right foot and unleashed a curling shot from outside the box into the bottom corner. However, the good times came to an abrupt end. On November 7, 2020, During Barcelona's match against Real Betis, Fati's left knee twisted awkwardly while his foot was planted. Initially, Barcelona tried to downplay concerns about a severe injury, but it soon became evident that Fati had torn his meniscus, a significant setback that marked the beginning of a series of injuries that would stall his promising career. Here's where things got complicated. There was a disagreement about the best way to repair Fati's torn meniscus. Typically, in such cases, the ligament would be replaced outright, but the surgeon chose to suture it, essentially stitching it back together. Barcelona hurried Fati's rehabilitation, allegedly doubling the number of physiotherapy sessions he needed. Unfortunately, this aggressive approach led to inflammation in his knee, further impeding his recovery. 2 months later, Fati's knee showed little improvement, and the sutured ligament failed to heal naturally. So he underwent another operation, described by the club as regenerative biological treatment. While the second rehabilitation process was more measured, his knee still didn't heal properly. There was a more complicated option on the table: complete removal of the meniscus. However, due to concerns about potential long-term issues, Fati decided against following the club's recommendation. Despite multiple surgeries, the knee pain persisted. When the sutured ligament failed to heal correctly for the second time, Fati chose to undergo a third surgery, essentially repeating the first 2 procedures. Unfortunately, this third attempt also proved ineffective, as the young player continued to experience pain and swelling in his left knee. As a result, he parted ways with the doctor who had performed the initial 3 surgeries, ruled himself out for the remainder of the 2020-21 season, including the European Championship that summer, and began exploring alternative options for his recovery. By the end of the 2021 season, Ansu Fati had reluctantly heeded the advice of those around him. His meniscus hadn't properly healed, leaving him with little choice but to undergo a procedure that removed the damaged strands of it. While this was a relatively standard surgery, it carried the risk of causing long-term problems. To prevent further injury, Fati had to diligently care for his affected knee and the surrounding muscles. What made this even riskier was that it marked his 4th surgery in just 6 months. Throughout this challenging period, Fati still had the support of Barcelona. When Lionel Messi departed for Paris Saint-Germain in the summer of 2021, leaving the number 10 shirt vacant, Barcelona promptly offered it to their young star, even though he hadn't played a match in 9 months. As it turned out, Fati's talent remained intact. He made his return to the field in late September, entering the pitch with 10 minutes left in Barcelona's La Liga match against Levante. In the second half stoppage time, the 18-year-old showcased his impact by scoring a goal. He skillfully cut inside the defender and unleashed his trademark finish, securing a 3-0 victory for his team. Although there was still a long journey ahead, it seemed that the number 10 shirt wasn't a burden for him. Barcelona further demonstrated their trust in Fati by offering him a substantial contract extension, extending his commitment until 2027 and including a €1 billion release clause in the deal. However, Fati's period of fitness was short-lived. He managed to score twice in 6 appearances before suffering another injury, this time a significant muscle problem in his left thigh. This type of issue had been a concern for doctors following his meniscus surgery a few months earlier. Fati was sidelined for 2 months, missing 13 matches for both club and country. While his knee problems had temporarily subsided, it appears that the associated issues were not going away so easily. In the 2022-23 season, Ansu Fati finally began fully fit. He had a strong preseason, and despite the arrivals of Robert Lewandowski and Ralphina, which pushed him down the hierarchy, the then 19-year-old believed he had a genuine opportunity to make an impression. While he couldn't secure a spot in the starting lineup, Fati still had an impact coming off the bench in Barcelona's second game of the season. He joined the match against Real Sociedad when it was tied 1-1 after 65 minutes and immediately made his presence felt. Fati provided a delightful assist to Ousmane Dembélé with a flick just seconds after being substituted in. And he also set up Lewandowski for a goal, helping Barcelona take a 3-1 lead. He capped off his performance with a goal of his own with 12 minutes remaining. Things were going reasonably well for Fati in March 2023. Although he wasn't a regular starter under Xavi, the winger had received occasional opportunities and was having his best season since 2019. However, a complication arose when his father, Bori, a former professional footballer, became involved. Bori had never been shy about expressing his opinions, and he openly voiced several grievances on Spanish radio. He claimed that Fati wasn't getting enough playing time under Xavi and advocated for his son to leave the club. Bori even suggested that Ansu should consider Real Madrid if they were interested. During the summer of 2023, Barcelona needed to generate funds for a crucial transfer window. It had long been apparent that Fati was the player the club was willing to part with. Amid reported interest from Arsenal and other European clubs, Xavi provided little public support for Fati, deflecting questions about his future. With 16-year-old Lamine Yamal touted as the new Messi, surpassing Ansu in the pecking order, the forward had little choice but to seek new opportunities, even if the Amex Stadium was not a destination many would have predicted for him just a few years ago. Nevertheless, he now finds himself at this new club, striving to revive his career, and we all eagerly anticipate his journey ahead. Do you believe that this is a positive move for his career? Do you think he will ever realize his full potential? His transfer to Brighton adds another special name to the list that represents the Seagulls' extraordinary recruitment strategy. Check it out in this video next, and you'll see that their way to the top wasn't down to luck at all.